Hello, our most valued student. My name is Confident. Welcome to our revision session, and this is for NCV level 2 students as they are preparing for their final exams. And I'm looking at paper 2, second paper of the National Certificate Vocational, and the paper that I'm looking at was written on the 2nd of November 2021. So as I said, I'll be going through some revision with you guys so that you prepare for your exams. And in this paper, just a few instructions that I want you to take note of is the rounding off. It says you need to round off your answers to 3 decimal places unless stated otherwise. Okay, and then I want us to focus on this paper on question. I'm not gonna do question 1, the data handling, but I'm gonna be doing another session here where I'll focus just on data handling. I'll post 2 or 3 videos on them, so I'm not going to do this part of data handling. It continues to question 1.4, and you can see it's got good marks. This is out of 40 marks, so you definitely need to know that. You definitely don't want to do go to your final exam without being sure of that. But now let's look at question 2. That's where I want to focus in this short session, and mainly it's just a mixture of some topics. This is analytical geometry. Here says question number 2. Let's look at question number 2 under analytical geometry. 2.1, it says 2.1, so it's just what we're given, and then there are questions here. They didn't say anything. 2.1.1 says calculate the length of line segment AB. Leave the answer in the said form. So before we do that, let's look at the formulas that we are given for this. If you look at these, you definitely need to familiarize yourself with these formulas. And in this section, we are dealing with analytical geometry. It is the section from 13 up to 16. These are the formulas that you will definitely need to know if you are dealing with analytical geometry. Number 1 is the gradient, which is change in y over change in x, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And then the distance formula, which is square root of x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. And the midpoint formula, x1 plus x2 over 2, y1 plus y2 over 2. And the gradient in terms of theta, which is arctan m, where m is the gradient. We are going to definitely use these. They usually bring questions that require you to know that knowledge. So the first one is calculate the length of the line segment. You see, that's the distance formula, AB. So in this case, if you still remember, I just quoted that to say D is equal to square root of x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. Okay, so what you do is when you're given such a question, you need to ask yourself, what is my A? Now we are told A is 2, 3. Let me write it there. Let me write it on top. That's much better. A is negative 2 and 3, and B, the coordinates of B is 5, 3. All right. So now I just have to apply this formula. The formula using these coordinates. So it's up to you to say which one is your x. Remember, coordinates are x and y. So this, you can make it your x1, y1. Again, you say x and y, and then this time it will be x2, y2. They must be the same subscripts. If it's 1, you're dealing with x1, y1. If it's 2, it's x2, y2. So now if I put it on the formula, my distance, you can now write distance of AB as a subscript of the bottom is the x2. Remember, we said x2 now is 5, so it's bracket 5 minus, now there are 2 negative, is x2, which is 5. The minus is for the formula, see that, minus x1, but x1 also has a negative, so it's minus 2 squared. You can leave it like that. Some, but they prefer to say 5 plus 2 ones, because a negative and a negative gives you a positive. but it's up to you. You can leave it like that as two negatives. You can see plus y2 will be 3 minus 3 squared. Okay, so this was more of a horizontal line the way I see it, because 3 did not change. So now your calculator then comes in handy, so that you can do the calculation there. So d of AB is equal to square root, but now when you're doing this one, you just need to write the final answer. They said leave your answer in set form, so it's square root of bracket 5 minus negative 2 squared there, and then plus 3 minus 3 squared, in as much as it is going to give us 0, and then it's giving us the direct answer there, which is 7. So distance AB is just 7. You can say 7 units, because we don't know whatever units they are giving us there. So they say calculate the length of line segment AB. Leave the answer in set form. There was no need for us to leave the answer in set form because of that. But since it's a horizontal line, you can actually even see here from A to B, it's what? Remember, distance is measured in is positive. So you are saying B is 5, so it will be 5 minus minus 2, which is simple 7. From negative 2 to 5, you move 7 steps. Alright, now 2.1.2, the question says we need to calculate the coordinates of the midpoint M of the line segment AC. So we are looking at that midpoint here. Right, but I can just quickly wake it up here, because the midpoint in this formula, remember the formula, M is x1 plus x2 over 2, you see that, and then you do that, and then it's y1 plus y2 over 2, you see. So it's up to you which one is your x1, y1 again. So let me make my A be the xy, which is x1, y1, and my C be xy, which is x2, y2 version. So now my M in this case will be equal to, now x1 is negative 2 plus x2, which is 4 over 2, you see that, and then my y1 is 3 plus y2, which is 6 over 2. You need to put that, remember coordinates are like this, so you put it in that coordinates form. So then M is equal to, now minus 2 plus 4, which is 2 over 2, that's the first part, and then 3 plus 6 over 2, which is 9 over 2. Then it's up to you to finish that, to say what is 2 over 2. 2 over 2 is equal to, M will be 1, and 9 over 2, you can leave it like that, or 4,5 or 4.5. So it's up to you how you want to leave it. So these are the midpoint of the line segment, that's 2 marks. And then the next question says calculate the gradient of line segment AC. Now we're looking at gradient. Again, when we're talking about gradient, we are back to saying formula. Remember, gradient M is equal to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So the aim here is to say what are the coordinates, what is your A. In this case they said AC, am I right, which is negative 2, 3, and then my C, the coordinates of C is 4, 6. So you've got 4 and 6. You just need to be careful, guys, when you're doing this. You just need to be sensitive, especially when you're saying which one is my y2, which one is my y1. So look at this. If I say A is your xy, that's when you say 1, 1, and then the other one again is your xy, then you have got 2 and 2. Then right now the gradient M is equal to y2, which is 6, minus y1, which is 3. I see what I'm doing there, and then over, you've got x2, which is 4, minus x1, which is negative 2. Just do it like that. When you see a negative sign, put the negative sign as is. Let the calculator do the rest. You don't have to stress. The calculator will find the answer. You understand? So the problem is for you now to try to, you want to simplify this by your own mental head and then confusing yourself. Just do it like that. 6 minus 3 over 4 minus and then negative 2. And then equal to, you've got 1 over 2 or 0.5. So this is the gradient. And then, but you can write it, it was gradient of AC. So you can say M of AC if you want as a subscript there. And then 2.1.4, it says calculate the gradient of the line segment AC. 2.1.4, calculate the gradient of the line AC which is perpendicular. Okay, calculate the gradient of the line which is perpendicular to AC. The keyword there is perpendicular. So what they're trying to say is there is a line, let's say the line AC was like this. I'll call this line AC. And then there is a perpendicular line. A perpendicular line is a line that crosses AC at 90 degrees like this. See, that's what they're saying. And then you have got a 90 degrees. So we are calling AC, I'll call it AC perpendicular. Are you seeing what I'm saying here? Now we want that gradient here. Or we call it, so there is a formula which says if you multiply M1 times M perpendicular is equal to -1. There is a formula that connects two lines which are perpendicular. It says the gradient of the first line times the gradient of its perpendicular line, you must get a -1. So we know the gradient of AC. So the gradient of AC times the gradient of that perpendicular line, I must get a -1. They didn't put it in the formula, but from your studies, you must know this. You need to know this. To say, some they call it like this, M1 times M2 is equal to -9. And then they say, this is for perpendicular lines. I think that. So which means now I take the gradient of MAC, which is 1 over 2 times the gradient of the perpendicular line, I get a -1. So what do? I divide now. Remember, I'm looking for M perpendicular. Divide by half on both sides, so that the half is gone this side. Then you are left with your M perpendicular. And then if you are going to say -1 divided by half, I think the answer will be -2. I think you can try there to say -1 over half over 1 over 2 is equal to -2. So this basically becomes the answer for this question. So this was on that part. Now moving on to 2.3. 2.3 says given ABC with vertices A, B and C. So they've given us that. And then if AB C is translated by 2 units to the right and 2 units downwards, determine the coordinates of the translated points A1, B1, C1. So this is transformation. Now look at this. In transformation, okay, let me just look at this. Looking at the time given, I've done question that 2 point, how many marks was this? That was 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, actually I was jumping some question, 9 marks. Let's look at 2.2. I think I was jumping some question here. 2.2, given ABC with angle B at 90. So there is an angle 90. I don't know why I missed this one. It's so visible here. There is 90. Angle B. A is 20. So we come here to say, you can see A is equal to 20. And angle C is 33. They did that. Right. Simple one. Now determine the value of B. Now they need us to find the value of what? Of B. Now let me go back to the formulas just to familiarize myself again. Remember guys, this is one of the first times I teach NCV. I'm bringing it for you guys as you are preparing for your final exams. So I hope these videos are coming handy. Don't forget to leave us a comment, Share with your friends and colleagues so that they can also prepare for their final exams. Above all, remember to subscribe so that you can be notified every time I'm posting a new video on this. So there is nothing there that is assisting me, but you need to know whenever you deal with a 90 degrees, there is something important that you need to know, and we call it the trig ratios. And the trig ratios is what? It's SOHCAHTOA. SOHCAHTOA. You know, these are trig ratios that you need to know. I mean, okay, let me do it like this. SOHCAHTOA. So in these trig ratios, it's so you put that, ka you put like a line, and then toya you put like a line, meaning what? Sine theta is equal to opposite over hypotenuse, cos theta is equal to adjacent over hypotenuse. These are the sides of a triangle. And tan theta is equal to opposite over adjacent. I think that. Now after that, you need to identify within your in your triangle which one is the opposite, which one is the adjacent, which one is the hypotenuse. Now the moment you're given that angle 33, then what you do is what I usually do. I'll say I take a line to say, so this is my line of interest here. See, now what is important with this line? This line has the 90 degrees. See, it has got two angles. The 90 degrees is on that, lies on that line, and the 33 lies on that line. And then when there are two angles like that, I call it my adjacent. That is my A. In other words, that's my A, my adjacent. Then the longest side, you always know, is the opposite. That's the longest side. And the other side automatically the longest side is called the hypotenuse. Sorry about that. Hypotenuse is always the longest side. Then the other side is automatically the opposite side. So that's the opposite side. So since I was using big letters, this is the H for the hypotenuse, and this is the O for the opposite. So now if they say determine the value of B, now if you look at B is the what? B is the hypotenuse. So you look at the trig ratios here that I did for you for the other side, and you ask yourself which one has the hypotenuse. You can see that it's sine, it has got H, its cos, it's got H, so one of them will work. Tan in this case won't work. Are you seeing what I'm saying? So why it won't work? Because it is opposite over adjacent. But now let's go back again. B is my hypotenuse. Now what am I given? I am given the angle, which is fine, and then I am given the adjacent. You see, they said A is equal to 20, and the adjacent is linked with cos. See, so I can now write here and say cos 33, which is my theta. Look at the formula. Cos theta is equal to A, which is A here is 20 over the hypotenuse is B. That's what I want. I think that. Determine the value of B. Now, how do you find B at this stage when you're like this? How do you find B? So it's very simple. Since B is a fraction, you multiply by B because it's below, so that you can remove that fraction. But what you do on the left, you do on the right. So you also here multiply by B, so that you've got B times cos 33 is equal to what? Is equal to 20. But now you are looking for B. You no longer want, this is what you don't want now, that cos 33. So you divide by what you don't want. Remember, the opposite of multiplication is division. So cos 33 here, that will go now. But you also do the same thing over cos 33. You have to do it in two steps like that. They need to give you your value for B. That's how you go towards finding the value for B in that case. Okay, so if we calculate that, it will be 20 over cos 33. Remember, they said we must leave our answer to 3 decimal places, and then that is where you have to leave your answer to 3 decimal places, and B is equal to 23,847. See, you can round it off yourself. Shift, setup, then look at 6, that's fix, into 3 decimal places, which is 23,847. So you've got 23,847. That is the size, the value of B. Alright, and then determine, that was that. The next one says determine the value of sine C plus cos A. Alright, now here, let me just erase this, because they are back in the trig ratios here. It's just your trig ratios. Now, they are saying sine C. Now, what is angle C? You can see that angle C is simple 33. So here they are saying sine 33, right, plus cos A. Now, what is that A? You need to identify, ask yourself A. Now, this is 90. This is 33. It's asked for, it's your duty to know that sum of angles in a triangle add up to 180. So you must say angle A plus angle C plus angle B. Sum of angles in a triangle, I must get 180. So which means if I want to find angle A, it is 180 minus angle C, which is 33, minus angle B, which is 90. It will give me angle A. So what is that angle A? It mustn't just be difficult. It's 180 minus 90 minus 33. So you see that it's 57. This is 57 degrees. So angle A is equal to 57 degrees. Now if they're saying determine the value of sine C plus cos A, I think we just have to work it from like that, because I now know sine C plus cos A. I think this was just like that, which is equal to, now sine C is sine 33 plus, yeah, just like that, cos A is cos 57. That's all they wanted you to do there. First find A and then solve that. Then you just take a calculator and ask yourself, how do you what is the answer for you when you punch that part. So you just say sine C is what, which is sine 33 plus cos 57 equal to, and then 3 decimal places, 80s, but I told you can round off, shift, setup, 6, and then you say 3 decimal places, 1,089. So it becomes 1,089. Guys, that's how you solve this part. So I think at this stage, that is where I can pause it and end this part on, it was analytical. Now we did some geometry, trigonometry actually, and then I just want to pause here this video. I'm pausing it in the sense that I'm gonna continue with question. Let me just erase. I'm going to continue with this question in the next session. Let me see if ever it continues. Yes, there's 2.4. You see that it's got 2.4. It's got 2.4 and 2.5, which I'm gonna do in another video. But obviously I'm doing this in the same sitting, but I'm gonna cut it here so that when you are reading, when you are revising, you don't have to sit for long hours trying to understand. It's just so that in 24 minutes pockets you can come back to this video.